well. So Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley has done almost as surpassed Mayweather versus Logan Paul exhibition the other brother. And so far, it has done a million pay-per-view buys, which is crazy. And Showtime, really benefiting from this, and also Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. They're gonna run back that rematch. They definitely will run it back. Um, and again, it was a real fight, right? People are talking about Tyron Woodley. He's MMA and blah blah blah. Listen, man, Tyron Woodley, in my opinion, I told you he wanted to fight. In my opinion, was he going to get a decision there? Probably not. But let me just say something. Let me just say something. The two Paul brothers did something that I will never do in my lifetime. You know what I mean? These guys took on boxing. Been doing it for about 5 years now, right? Both of them. They started off with the amateur stuff and seriously probably for about 3 years. Logan Paul was able to enter the ring with arguably the greatest fighter of all time, arguably the best fighter of all time, arguably the best fighter, well, not arguably, but the best fighter of his era, Floyd Mayweather. Share the ring with him. Go 8 rounds with him. Go 8 rounds with him. And whether you say Mayweather was being easy on him or not, that's a tremendous feat, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? That's something I would dream of doing. Okay? Uh, Jake Paul fought the great Tyron Woodley. Yes, it was a boxing match. Tyron Woodley's not known as a boxer, even though he's been doing it a lot. He's done it for, like, as I said, 20 plus years. He's been doing boxing, and he's always loved boxing. His family, he comes from a family of boxers, but he never did professionally. He never had an amateur background. But he went with a legend. Jake Paul went with a legend, and he got the decision over that legend. Now, remember, the legend's not a boxer, okay? If you, Tyron Woodley is a good boxer. What I mean by that is, he's prospect level. He's prospect level, right? He's not a novice. He's prospect level. You could see his composure, the way how he carries himself. People are saying his guard was weird. No, it wasn't. It was a high guard. They say his palms was facing Jake Paul. That in the 20s and 30s, that's how the guys fought. Their palms were this way. Okay, there's nothing big about that. You know, no. Tyron Woodley had a boxing stance. He was very composed, compact boxing stance. People were saying Tyron Woodley had problems closing the distance because of Jake Paul's jab. No, 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 no. That wasn't the problem. Tyron Woodley just didn't want to get countered. That was it. And so he was being very careful when he closed the distance coming in on Jake Paul. But with Tyron Woodley, what you didn't realize, bro, and your corner was telling you, was Jake Paul was tired. So his reaction time was, as you can see, sloppy as the fight went on. So his reaction time actually decreased. In fact, he was starting to throw, he was starting to advance to you with double jabs and right hands, foul right hands, and right or left hooks because he was actually slowing down. And the moment your opponent is slowing down, that's when you pounce on them. You go on them. You're not wild and crazy. You keep your guard up and you slide onto the inside anyway. And you dip, you slip and dip, slide to the inside, and then you do your thing. You go body work. I know he was tying you up, but the point is, you get your licks in and you attack much more frequently. And that's the thing you didn't do. That's all to it, really. And you were saying you didn't want to telegraph going in so he would know, so he would react. But you're overthinking the situation, buddy. When a guy's tired, that's when you go at him. You go at him and you chip at him. You chip away. So you making sure you get at least one punch in there. A body punch, particularly. Head punch, body punch. Make sure you protect yourself. Keep the phone on. I'm being in the orthodox stance. You keep the phone on the phone booth. So if he comes with a hook, you know what to do. If it's a straight right, you already dipped this way. So that straight right is not going to do you anything. And you slide in. You slide in and you throw your shot. You may have to hook off. You may have to hook off the slide, so you're here, right? And you dip, and you roll back this way and you hook. You know what I mean? But Tyron Woodley, you could do this stuff. It's just, and you're very accurate, so you can do this stuff. So I suggest you do it. Walk him down, press him. If you had only pressed the attack more, even if you didn't land, if you had pressed the attack more, you'd have gotten that fight easy because you'd have been pressing the action. But you're not pressing the action. You're walking him down. You're not cutting off the ring all the time, and you're not pressing. You have to press, you know. And yes, he's a counterpuncher, but you have to press him. You have to. You know, and I knew Jake Paul. I mean, Jake Paul was much bigger than Tyron Woodley. Nobody's talking about this. Jake Paul was significantly bigger than Tyron Woodley. Okay, Jake Paul probably came in there 200 something pounds. Woodley probably came in 190 something, maybe 200. But Jake Paul was much bigger than Tyron Woodley. But even so, Tyron Woodley really showed us the difference in levels in class. Now they're saying Jake Paul, he was doing boxing more, so he was using the jab to keep Tyron Woodley on the outside, using some feints. Tyron Woodley would move back on the feints, saying he's biting on all the feints. It's not that. Tyron Woodley was being safe. He was being careful, you know. And if a guy's coming, better safe than sorry. So if a guy's coming 2 steps forward to you, he decided to go 2 steps back, okay, and he hopped back, stay out of the zone, you know, coming in and out of the zone. That's basically what Woodley was doing, which is okay. That's what his skill set has him at. That's what it is. But when that guy gets tired, when a guy's fatiguing, you know, you need to press the action. You can't be just biting on fates all the time. You know what I mean? That's where Woodley should have taken action and really started to step on the gas with him. And once Woodley stepped on the gas, Jake Paul was in trouble. But he just wouldn't keep the pressure going. And yeah, Jake Paul was hitting you sometimes with left hooks and whatever. But you got to press it. You got to dip under it and just keep on going at him. Let him tie you up. Press him to tie you up because he will tie you up. And keep the pressure on him, because the more pressure you put on him is the more he's going to burn up energy, you know, and lose his composure just to fight you back. He's going to throw wild shots at you. The only thing that Jake Paul had was much, but Jake Paul's going to learn from this, and hopefully he'll get more composure. And for Jake Paul, I would like to say this: you did an excellent job fighting through fatigue, bro. It showed you've grown so much by facing this veteran. So he's not a boxer, but he did present to you certain boxing situations. You got tagged really hard, and you got hurt in a fight, and you overcame that. And then on top of that, you were able to fight through the fatigue and keep this guy at bay long enough to win the fight off of points. So kudos to Jake Paul on that. That's tremendous. I mean, you only been doing this thing seriously for 3 years. This is tremendous to even get that far, you know, with the matchmaking and everything and all of that. So I just wanted to say that Jake Paul and Logan Paul have inspired me to press on to want to continue to do boxing. And also, you guys have inspired me, and I'm just going to say it personally. You guys have also inspired me not only to continue boxing, but to continue all the other projects I have in my life and to get more consistent and more planned in how I do it and get the right people around me. So very inspiring, Jake Paul and Logan Paul. I just want to say to Tyron Woodley, you are also very inspiring because you're like an OG like me. You're about almost 40 years old. I'm 40 something. And you are debuting in boxing at 40 something years old. And you did a hell of a job for your debut. A hell of a job. Nobody's complimenting Tyron Woodley on a hell of a job that he's doing and comparing him to Adrian Broner as an established boxer. Tyron Woodley's not an established boxer, man. Tyron Woodley is a debutant. That was his debut, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all being very hard on this dude. Do you realize one guy was a debutant and the other guy only had 3 fights? And y'all critiquing them like they're elite fighters. That's to tell you how serious the fight was. Y'all don't realize it, but, you know, guys who haven't boxed before, they're not trying to get hit. And Woodley wasn't trying to get hit, and Jake Paul wasn't trying to get hit. You know what I'm saying? They box smart. And I got to give them mad props. Jake Paul has come so far. Let me just say this. KSI, he ain't got nothing on Jake Paul. KSI, you ain't got nothing on Jake Paul. Jake Paul will beat you, bro. You're too wild. You're too wild with your punches and stuff. He's going to catch you with something. Ain't going to knock you the hell out. Logan Paul caught you with something, actually. And I think Jake Paul, he got the killer instinct more than Logan. He would knock you out, okay? Tyron Woodley, brah, you serious. You was the man in there. Jake Paul wasn't fucking with you. You was walking his ass down. The only thing you didn't do was press the action because you were the superior boxer inside that ring. You were the superior guy. It's not going to be that way the next fight necessarily because Jake Paul has learned. He's got a lot of experience from that fight, and he's going to use it. And he's going to learn how to keep his composure, and he's going to learn how to be sharper with his punches and cleaner with his punches. And he's going to work on his conditioning for the next fight. But I'm just saying, Tyron Woodley, you was the man in this fight, but you didn't take up, you didn't take advantage of the opportunity when you hurt Jake Paul, and you didn't take an opportunity. And yeah, you got caught with a left hook in the fifth round, but that's you shouldn't have deterred from that. You should have pressed the action. Now I can only say this as a bystander, as somebody who wasn't experienced from what you was experienced, because I know he was hitting you with good shots. He's a good puncher, but I'm just saying you need to. Your personality is one in which you will back off and be more cautious about things. You got to take risks to finish a guy. All right, and yes, you back off, but you must press him. And when you're pressing him, when you get him in the corner, you got to keep pressing him. Right? You feint as if you're going on the inside, and you go on the inside. You don't only have to use your speed. You can also use your timing, and you can use a little bit of dipping, dip to one side. You don't have to bob and weave, but at least dip to one side. And don't do it too predictably, otherwise he'll time you and figure it out and hit you with the right hand or check hook you as you're coming in. So these are the things that you got to pay attention to, Tyron Woodley. You had this fight. You let it go. You could have stopped this dude. You had everything to stop him, but you didn't stop him. And if you don't stop him, the most convincing decision is a stoppage, right? Don't leave it in the judge's hands. Now, in this fight coming up, it's going to be different because he's going to be much smarter. He's learned a lot from the last fight, and it's going to be harder to stop him. So you mightn't get the second decision either. But at the end of the day, if I see you improve in your boxing, you've been doing this for a while, let's see you improve in your boxing. Show us something new. I think you have a boxing career ahead of you, bro. You have a boxing career ahead of you in a different sort of way. You may not become world champion or anything, but you'll be able to box and box more often. And I say, Tyron Woodley, since you love boxing so much, you should really continue um, doing it. And um, it's hard to come down from them numbers with the Jake Paul stuff. Maybe you face Logan Paul, his brother. Um, maybe you mix it up with guys like KSI. Mix it up with some other MMA fighters in a boxing match. Mix it up with some other guys, retired guys. Maybe even you may even you ain't ready for Oscar De La Hoya. None of y'all ready for Oscar De La Hoya. None of y'all. Oscar would kill y'all. But some retired, maybe retired boxer, somewhere around that weight class, or maybe smaller than you, that wants to mix it up, come back out of retirement or something, you know, you guys have to face famous names to get your pay-per-view up. You can't go from 1 million pay-per-view buys to a fight nobody knows, and you just can't do that. You have to, it's kind of like a celebrity thing going on there. But I gotta say, man, Jake Paul, man, hats off to you, brother. I gotta say, you're a blessing for boxing. You and Logan, you guys inspire because you like guys like me. You guys like me. You guys were YouTubers. I'm a YouTuber. You know what I'm saying? Y'all came from YouTube. You know what I'm saying? KSI, all these guys are very inspirational because you're people like me. Just average Joes who decided to pick up boxing and really make it something serious. And I mean, you guys are taking it seriously. I really appreciate that. And who knows? You guys might go far. Who knows where I might go with this thing? So we're gonna see. I'm very inspired by these guys. I really am because they say, they tell you, people, listen to me out there. They tell you that you can do this too. You can do this too. Maybe not at the level that they're doing it, but you could box too. You gotta be careful, and you gotta have the right people around you, and the right team, and all of that. But you could box too. Maybe even professionally. Maybe you never become world champion, but you can maybe box professionally and make some money off of this thing. The whole point behind this boxing is to prevent people who may be miscreants or people who may get in trouble, to get them to focus their energy into something positive. And it's mainly for kids and even for older people, instead of sitting down for the older people, I'm talking 50 and over, sitting down and becoming depressed and just sitting down and getting fat and wasted, boxing. And yes, it's a dangerous sport. You can get hurt really bad. But guess what? If you sit on the couch and you waste away your life and you die of disease, you're also hurting yourself. And some of y'all might turn out to be great boxers, even at the late age of 15, 16. Maybe they need to have tournaments for you guys because it doesn't make sense fighting the younger guys. But the point is, it's something positive where instead of focusing your energies into negative things and ending up, either destroying your own self or destroying other people or cursing out your wife or cursing out your family, you be in the gym working out. You're going to be fit. If you eat right, you're going to be healthy. Look at Oscar. Oscar's coming back. He's 48 years old, ladies and gentlemen. 48 years old. Fighting Vito Belfort this weekend, I believe it is. And he looks good. He looks really, really good. You know? And that's inspirational to me. And I just wanted to let you guys know, I'm trying to get back. I'm trying to get an actual fight by the end of this year. We're working on it. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna get into the ring myself. I think I I've got what it takes to do it. I just think that I just need to get in there and actually experience it on another level. Because a lot of people say, "Well, you never boxed before in your life," and this. And I say I'm a boxer, and they don't. Nobody takes me seriously because I don't have the experience behind it. So you got to have the experience, whether it's pro or amateurs. Get the experience behind you. And I don't have a problem because I'm making the decision and I'm walking into it. And I told you guys several years back I was going to do this, and I'm really going to do it. I'm going to show you guys the footage of it after, whether I get my ass beat or I don't get my ass beat. I'm going to show you all the footage, right? This COVID kind of really put a wrench in a lot of things, but man, I'm definitely going to do this. I'm definitely going to do this. This is something I got to do. So, I just wanted to say how much of an inspiration Jake Paul, Logan Paul is. I think a lot of people, I think a lot of young people are going to get into boxing because of them, and that's a good thing. And the young people are going to, some of them are going to become world champions. Some of them are going to go on because of Jake Paul and Logan Paul, are going to be inspired to not just do this YouTube celebrity boxing because they're not celebrities, but they may go on to do actual boxing. And this is what Jake Paul and Logan Paul might get all these kids into the gyms and stuff. When you see young people pushing in the direction of boxing now, I hope it's young black children, young white children, young Asian children, whatever race you are, get into the gym and box. Boxing is a sport that, it's unlike any other sport, and it's a dangerous sport. So you have to hold yourself accountable. You can't cut corners, otherwise you're going to hurt yourself. It's a very honest sport in that respect. And it'll teach you discipline. That you do things you don't want to do, but you're gonna do them. And it's a physical sport in the sense that at a certain point, you know, if somebody was bullying you, you could beat their ass and you beat them up, and then you get tired of beating them up and you realize, hey man, I don't need to beat these people up. You want more challenges. You want to go into the gym and face guys who can teach you something. You might get your ass beat, but at least they can teach you something. So I can't wait. I can't wait. Uh, you know, to do this thing, man. I can't wait to do this thing. And I know you listen to Jake Paul talk about how his nose was broken. He got to fix his nose. He got to fix other things. It's a brutal sport. I'm just gonna let you know. You can get dropped. You can get beat up. You can go home, busted eyes and shit. You know, ringing ears, eardrums ringing, and all kinds of shit. All kinds of shit happen in boxing. It's kind of brutal. But at the end of the day, it's going to toughen you up. If you don't get permanently damaged by it, you're going to be toughened up by it. And it's going to teach you, if you don't have brain damage, it's going to teach you how to be disciplined and how to structure things in life and how to put things in different compartments. You know what I mean? It's a really fantastic sport. You know, you're gonna fight some wild ass people, man. Some wild people that throw me my eye and shit. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you're gonna learn how to develop your skills and develop your abilities. All right. So that's all I gotta say, man. I just wanted to share this video with you guys. This is what you need in the building. You guys have a good one. It's very early in the morning, so I'm gonna get out of here.